This story kicks off with sirens blaring, announcing the city is under attack and ordering an immediate evacuation. Flaming meteors start raining from the sky, destroying everything in sight in a scene of total chaos. Amidst the mayhem, a bright blue crystal plummets through the clouds, crashing hard into the earth. Spitting up blood has become routine for our MC, who's now glowing with a mysterious blue aura. Forming an insane energy grid, the power completely takes over his body. Cut to a high school where a crowd of students is getting ready for the entrance exam. In front of everyone, the teacher explains that their scores will decide their futures as elite warriors. Getting straight to the point, the instructor warns that only the top 10 will make it into the honors class. Walking thoughtfully, the kid remembers the 2 years he lost to sickness and focuses on this golden opportunity. Breaking out in a cold sweat, he whispers to himself that this is his last chance and he can't screw it up. Right behind him, a couple of bullies spot our boy and start whispering. Acting all high and mighty, the jerk mocks the fact that Chengdu vanished for 2 years and is still trying to take the test. With a wicked grin, the group's leader calls the kid a genius, in a tone dripping with sarcasm. Without backing down, the MC grabs the guy's hand firmly and tells him to focus on his own exam. Leaving the chumps behind, our hero walks on, focused on what really matters. His hand throbbing, the bully is shocked by the sudden strength of the kid who used to be so weak. The goon almost lunges, but his boss stops him, saying to wait for the practical exam to make a move. With a psycho laugh, the leader plots to break our boy in half during the exam and make it look like an accident. Now in the classroom, the written test begins. Asking for the history of the Martial calendar on the computer. Recounting the past, the question mentions the year the Earth was invaded and humanity used nuclear weapons. But the radiation backfired, and colossal beasts emerged, threatening to wipe everyone out. Evolving from the destruction, the monsters force humans to break past their physical limits. In this era of chaos, warriors awakened, reaching level 2 of life force to fight back. Trading blows with giant beasts, the heroes of that time gave their all to protect the human race. Marking the end of the old era, a new world was born, focused purely on martial strength. With a quick click, our MC submits the finished test in the blink of an eye, with ridiculous ease. Leaning back in his chair, he sees the perfect score on the screen, exactly as he'd calculated. During his coma, he was trapped in some weird space that gave him a totally OP photographic memory. Arriving home, his family greets the kid with dinner already on the table in a super chill atmosphere. Immediately, his little sister starts teasing him, picking up the registration card he dropped on the floor. At the dinner table, the mood is one of total support for the big day ahead. Just then, the MC is startled to see super rare blood and Kai pills next to his plate. Full of pride, his dad says he bought them to give him that extra boost for tomorrow's exam scores. A bit awkwardly, the kid tries to refuse, saying he can pass the test without them. Putting a hand on his son's shoulder, his pops insist he take them, promising to support his dream no matter what. In silence, our hero realizes the weight of that sacrifice and swears not to let them down. Later in his dark room, he thinks about how that little bottle cost the family's entire savings, and the responsibility weighs on him. Holding the blue energy, he knows the exam's success depends entirely on tonight. In a flash, the kid is transported to that bizarre, frozen mental space. Planting his feet firmly, he draws his sword, because every time he sleeps, he has to fight in this creepy place. Basically, the mission here is to protect a crystal from hordes of monsters to wake up refreshed. If the crystal gets destroyed, the punishment is severe. He stays in a coma all day, losing precious training time. At first, he got his butt kicked by the beasts, but over time, his strength and spiritual power skyrocketed. Suddenly, a system notification warns that the next wave of creatures will arrive in exactly 30 seconds. Quick as a flash, the young warrior slices through the first monsters in an insane combo of cuts. Panning after the carnage, he opens the system panel to check his own performance. Based on his strength and speed numbers, he confirms his combat stats have gone way up. With barely a second to breathe, the screen flashes, warning that the fifth wave is coming in hot. Smashing through the scenery, a giant red dragon appears out of nowhere, already spewing a sea of deadly flames. In an insane reflex, the MC dodges being roasted alive by the fire breath by a hair's breadth. Like a tank, the beast tries to crush our hero with a brutal paw swipe that rips through the air. With a heavy spin, the lizard follows up with a tail whip that sweeps the ground, kicking up dust. The force of the impact sends the kid flying backward, but he manages to hold his ground with his sword. After memorizing the beast's every move, he finally cracks its attack pattern and finds an opening. Full of energy, the kid unleashes a slashing light technique that looks like a fierce gust of wind. A direct hit, the strike tears through the dragon's tough hide, making the beast recoil in pain. But instead of scaring it off, the wound just activates the monster's berserker mode. With a world-shaking roar, the beast explodes in a much more intense and aggressive fiery aura. Realizing he underestimated the beast, the MC backs off quick so he doesn't end up as a free barbecue. Calm and calculating, he swears to himself that this boss isn't getting past him today. In an incredible burst of speed, our boy charges the dragon, cutting through the wind. To counter at all costs, the monster strikes with its claws but hits nothing but empty air. Millimeters from the giant fangs, the young warrior dodges a lethal bite with pure reflex. Far from another fire blast, he closes the distance, getting into the enemy's blind spot. With his eyes locked on the beast's weak point, he knows this is his only shot to end the fight. Being much smaller than the lizard, the MC slides under its attacks with pure mastery. Right from the ground, he leaps much higher than the dragon, preparing the finishing blow. Desperate, the monster looks up, roaring and trying to spit fire toward the sky. With total agility, the hero plummets like a meteor, aiming the tip of his sword at the target. Piercing through the fiery defense, the blade sinks into the beast's skull, creating a massive shockwave. With no strength left, the dragon's colossal body collapses to the ground, shaking all the ice. Back on the ground, the kid sheathes his weapon as the dust from the battle begins to settle. Immediately, the system congratulates him on the victory and announces his spiritual power has increased. Remembering his classes, he realizes this system visualization method is 1,000 times more broken. Before he can even celebrate, the screen flashes, alerting him to the next wave, and he grits his teeth, ready for another round. Before him, a giant horde of 30 terrifying monsters approaches, thirsty for blood. Back in the real world, our MC wakes up sweating, realizing he's not getting past this stage anytime soon. Determined to improve quickly, the kid invokes the immortal visualization method to check his gains. Instantly, the boy is pulled into the system space, surrounded by blue data. Behind him, a colossal dark aura with a giant red eye emerges, crushing reality itself. Shaken by the insane pressure, he understands right away why they call this the infinite trial. All through the night, the hero trains hard, absorbing that mysterious blue energy. Bright and early, his younger sister throws the door open, holding a spatula and calling him for breakfast. Shirtless, the kid shows off a ripped physique, leaving his little sis stunned and questioning how handsome he got. Confident and with a smirk, he knows the hellish training has paid off big time. Playfully, the girl gives her brother a little punch on the arm, telling him not to mess up her hair. Utterly confused, the girl wonders to herself how a skinny guy got so good looking all of a sudden. In front of the mirror, our warrior notices the physical changes and blames the visualization system. With his backpack on, the student tells his dad and sister he's heading straight to the final exam. Arriving at the municipal school gym, the tense atmosphere of the practical test already fills the place. After stretching, the kid clearly notices his physical attributes have improved immensely. Suddenly, that annoying voice rings out, and the bully is back to mock the student who disappeared for 2 years. Huddled in a circle, the group of jerks questions Chengdu's audacity for trying to fight from the bottom of the ranks. Stepping in to defend his friend, a classmate throws it in the little villain's face that he totally bombed the written exam. Super calm and sarcastic, the hero says if his rival is deaf, he shouldn't even step into a ring. Boiling with rage, the punk points a finger in his face, threatening the kid for his nerve. With a sadistic smile, the rich kid warns that accidents in combat duels don't lead to expulsion. Turning their backs, the gang walks away, promising to break our little MC in half during the fight. Panicking, his partner shakes Chengdu by the shoulders, warning him he just signed his own death warrant. Straight to the point, the friend says that Jerk's uncle is now the dean of academic affairs. Realizing the dirty play, the MC deduces that the exam rules were leaked to his rival to give him an edge. Focused on survival, the warrior realizes he'll have to dodge sabotage from the teachers. Calling for focus, the pair agrees not to overthink it since the first phase of testing has begun. In the center of the arena, the punching machine waits, and the rule is to eliminate the last place person in each group. Planning his strategy, the hero decides to use just enough force to save energy for the real combat. With his fist clenched tight, the kid understands that the best tactic for this stage is pure speed. Full of swagger, the bully Feng Rui steps into the area, guaranteeing he has more than enough strength to crush everyone. After an authoritative shout, the scowling teacher announces the official start of the impact trials. Without a second thought, the rich kid throws a violent cross, tearing through the air and hitting the target. Smashing into the panel, the punch creates an explosion of air that makes the equipment shake like crazy. Screaming their heads off, the goons applaud the insane mark of 1,500 on the punching power. In the stands, the background characters are floored by the destructive power of the elite class. Just then, a deafening purple boom hits the test panel, stealing everyone's attention. Reading the monitor, the examiner's eyes go wide when he sees the same strength score coming from a rookie. Beaming with joy, the MC's friend points to the big screen, shouting with pride for his battle brother. Doing the math, the instructor notes that only a perfect martial technique could explain that punch. Intrigued by the miracle, the teacher requests the student's complete file to investigate his entire history. Reading the papers, the guy discovers the kid was sick for 2 years and still managed to get a perfect score. Fixing his gaze on the arena, the examiner vows to keep a close eye on the true strength of this bizarre prodigy. Cut straight to the afternoon sun, where the outdoor duel ring awaits the student carnage. Right in the middle of the court, the referee starts drawing pairs who will trade blows until sundown. As expected, the dirty scheme works, and our hero is pitted against the leader of the jerks. In the audience, students doubt the MC has enough martial skill to beat the favorite. Drawing his heavy sword, the rival declares that in hand-to-hand combat, there's no such thing as luck. Way too calm, the kid flashes a little smile and says he hopes his enemy can keep up that tough guy act. In the blink of an eye, the two clash in the center of the arena, and the sound of metal echoes everywhere. Focused on holding his ground, our warrior uses his blade in a perfect, rigid defensive stance. Pushing all his weight down, the little villain tries everything to break the hero's weapon in half. Sliding his feet from the impact, Chengdu withstands the pressure while listening to the useless taunts. With fire in his eyes, the preppy kid unleashes an orange blast, screaming that the honor's spot is his. Tearing through the wind like a lightning bolt, the punk lunges forward in a kamikaze attack to end it all. By a hair's breadth, the blade scrapes past our boy's face as he calmly pivots his body. Screaming at the top of his lungs, the crazed rival demands the MC's end, sending a devastating blow. The impact of their forces smashes the arena floor, sending dust and stone flying. Analyzing the fight, the hero realizes humans make way more mistakes than the monsters in the system. Believing he had the upper hand, the rich kid exposes his stance, opening a fatal gap for a split second. In that same moment, the young swordsman channels light into his blade and unleashes an absurd vertical slash. Noticing the enemy's left foot wobbling, he decides that's the moment for the knockout. In total shock, the bully's eyes widen as he realizes he fell right into the trap like a sucker. Right after, our hero unleashes the supreme gale and fires a massive beam that swallows his rival. A direct hit to the chest makes the punk spit blood and drop his own sword, sending it flying. Cold and merciless, the kid points the sharp steel right at his enemy's throat, declaring the end. Completely in shock, the gang leader collapses backward, screaming from the fear of almost being taken out. Fallen and defeated on the ground, the preppy kid trembles as he stares at the blade, unable to believe he lost so badly. Outside the arena, his friends celebrate, calling the kid the dark horse who shocked the entire school. Immediately, the medical team rushes onto the court with a stretcher to rescue what's left of the spoiled brat. Trying to slip away, the winner is startled when the head teacher calls his name. With a stern face, the combat instructor approaches, analyzing every detail of this monster student. Playing the victim, the MC asks for forgiveness, swearing he just got carried away and couldn't hold back his strength. Patting him on the shoulder, the teacher says injuries are normal, but warns him to be careful. From the edge of the arena, the teacher concludes the beatdown was so severe because of the insane difference in martial technique. Chilling in the hallways, the kid relaxes, knowing his family won't be home until much later. To not waste time, he enters the school's virtual simulation room, determined to test his own strength. As soon as the machine powers on, the system promises to match warriors of the same level for breathtakingly real fights. Used to dicing up monsters in the crystal space, our hero notices his rank against humans is only bronze. As he puts on the helmet, the kid predicts the spoiled rich kid's family will try to screw him out of his spot. Straight into the immersion pod, he accesses the famous global network that ranks the planet's greatest geniuses. Focused on his goal, the MC knows that climbing this leaderboard automatically guarantees him a spot in the honors class. With a flash of light, the system turns on and pulls the kid into his first virtual warm-up match. Inside the digital world, he gets a hilarious random avatar with a pig head to hide his identity. Like a meteor, the character plummets from the sky and lands in a super clean, white arena. Armed with his sword, the pig avatar looks around, searching for his first victim of the day. Suddenly, a female voice mocks his slowness as an assassin attacks from behind. On pure reflex, our warrior crosses his blade and blocks the dagger in a violent shower of sparks. With an agile leap, the girl backs off, complimenting his defense but warning him that it's kill or be killed here, no second chances. Totally prepared now, the kid swears he won't be caught off guard a second time. In a frantic exchange of blows, the two slice through the air, crossing blades at an insane speed. With his blood pumping, he unleashes a spear, like thrust focused on a single point, but the enemy dodges just in time. Flashing a mocking smile, the assassin criticizes the move, calling the technique flawed and stiff. Shocked by the unexpected advice, the MC hears his rival tell him to focus on the essence, not the form. Bothered by her perfect read on him, The hero wonders how the heck this random character knows his secret technique. Seeing the opening, the girl attacks, tearing through the air and telling the kid to pay attention to the fight. On pure instinct, he blocks, realizing that the girl's strength and style are a complete mystery. In the blink of an eye, the purple blade hits its mark, knocking the pig avatar to the ground with full force. Back in the starting lobby, the screen flashes defeat, and the kid grumbles that the sneaky little rat won with cheap tricks. Instead of crying over lost points, the genius focuses on his mistake and tries to understand the true meaning of the fluid sword. Searching his memory for the 4 stances, he realizes the dragon strike is still missing a key piece. Analyzing the assassin's pattern, the hero notices his own battle style is too honest and direct. Determined to prove his new theory, he hits the search button, looking for another opponent to test his idea. A moment later, the arena loads, revealing a giant brute armed with a terrifying iron ball. Annoyed by his bad luck, the pig avatar cries that the system keeps sending him buggymen right in the testing phase. Wasting no time, the giant runs like a tank, cracking the arena floor with each heavy step. In true method fashion, the brute unleashes a space technique, thinking the victory is in the bag. With a crushing impact, the monster slams his mace on the ground, creating a scary crater full of lightning. Pulling his weapon back, the big guy boasts that his martial technique swallows up thin swords. With his eyes glowing in the dark, our MC just gives a sarcastic look, ready to show his true power. Quick as a bullet, the hero invokes the wind technique, slicing through everything in front of him like a gale. After the brutal clash of blade against iron, the explosion of energy shakes the entire arena at once. Like a ghost, the kid appears behind the big guy, who panics, not understanding a thing. To close the coffin, he unleashes the dragon attack with the precision and malice of a true assassin. As the enemy drops, the screen announces his victory, and the hero smiles, satisfied he executed his idea perfectly. In his brilliant mind, the answer finally clicks, explaining the real reason the sword is called ingenious. Thanks to his absurd genius, the kid understands that the steel must be rigid, but the movement must flow like water. Basically, the big idea is to mix frontal attacks with stealthy strikes to never let the enemy guess his next move. Instantly, the system flashes, congratulating him on his proficiency rate, and the adrenaline rush makes him want another fight. Outside the virtual environment, the kid takes off the helmet, sweating buckets and his stomach rumbling with hunger. Out of nowhere, his watch beeps, confirming he just broke into the coveted global top 10,000. Totally floored by his natural talent, the kid checks the leaderboard and sees he's become the #1 player in the city. Extremely confident, he declares that with this colossal score, no one can take his spot in the special class. With a grin from ear to ear, our little MC leaves the gym, floating on air. Cut straight to the next day, with the schoolyard packed for the final survival exam stage. In the middle of the path, the hero is suddenly stopped by a not so friendly shout yelling his name. With utter rudeness, the fat inspector starts yelling, accusing the kid of disrespecting his elders. Confused by the unprovoked attack, the boy greets him politely but plays dumb, asking who the old guy is. Full of fake authority, the old guy flashes his armband, yelling that he's the dean of academic affairs and telling him to shut it. Enjoying the free show, the gossiping students start laughing at the poor guy getting called out for no reason. Whispering among themselves, the crowd figures the corrupt uncle is there to get revenge for his rich kid nephew who got his butt handed to him yesterday. With a touch of cowardice, the dean uses a wand to whip the MC, making up rules about the uniform. Dodging the blows, the student refutes the accusations, pointing out his clothes are perfectly within regulations. Completely hysterical, the old man raises his hand to strike hard, yelling that he won't tolerate backtalk from a bum. Without flinching, our hero grabs the rod, stopping the dirty attack while the uncle freaks out, threatening summary expulsion. Right in the middle of the chaos, a firm, calm voice cuts through the heavy atmosphere, asking who's looking for the dean. Appearing out of nowhere, the head principal and the city's mayor arrive together, striking fear into everyone in the yard. Desperate to come out on top, the fat inspector runs toward the authorities, pointing a finger in the kid's face. With a death stare and a hand signal, the top boss tells the suck up to shut his mouth instantly. Ignoring the old man, the principal goes straight to the student and asks respectfully if he is indeed Chen Du. To everyone's surprise, the big shot introduces the mayor, who traveled specifically to meet the ranked prodigy. In the crowd, the students nearly have a heart attack when they hear the kid is in the select top 1% of the world. Only now does the crowd understand that the MC didn't cheat and crushed his rival purely on strength. Without wasting time, the principal announces that the special spot is guaranteed and tells the hero to follow them to an urgent meeting. Cut straight to the door of a massive conference room, where an important business vibe fills the air. Inside, the city's 2 former top students are already saluting, receiving the mayor with great ceremony. With sour faces, the three geniuses exchange death glares, but deep down, none of them have a clue who the others are. Already settled in the presidential chair, the politician wastes no time and drops the bomb about the 100 Cities tournament. Basically, the suit reveals that the trio present has been summoned to represent the region's pride through a good old-fashioned brawl. Paying attention to the speech, the hero hears that a level 15 warrior will lead the team during the 3-day championship. Talking money, the principal reveals the prize for the top 10 starts at 100,000 yuan and also guarantees a direct bonus for college entrance exams. With a grin from ear to ear, the big shot asks if the three genius students accept the call to war. Breaking the tense mood, one of the upperclassmen raises his hand, asking why the combat has to be real and not virtual. Patiently, the authority explains that fighting in real life is essential to test survival skills and assures them of maximum protection suits for the students. Focused on his goal, our boy mentally calculates that with his current growth rate, he can easily make it into the tournament's top 3. To calm the kids down, the mayor tells them not to freak out over the pressure, saying the important thing is the experience of fighting against other cities. Without hesitation, the MC raises his hand, confirming his participation in the tournament, and the rest of the trio agrees on the spot. Clapping his hands, the politician praises the youth's courage and dismisses the prodigies to return to their training classes. Walking down the hall, the kid thinks that this prize money is the perfect chance to finally let his parents retire. Arriving in the elite classroom, the first thing the boy notices is that there are no names on any of the desks. Just as he's about to sit in an empty chair, a giant arm blocks his way, and a deep voice tells him to get lost. Acting like a total brute, the giant from 10th place asks who the cocky newbie is to dare take that spot. Without backing down, the MC looks up, facing the big guy head on and letting out a purely sarcastic tone. Calling out the childish attitude, our hero asks what century the bully is living in to be pulling this stuff in a classroom. To calm things down, a classmate appears and tells the brute that Chengdu is new and doesn't know the elite class rules. Shaking with fear on the inside, the big guy realizes the newbie's life force is twice as strong as his and backs down immediately. Pretending to forgive the mistake, the bully swallows his pride and fakes that he only didn't hit the kid out of respect for his buddy standing there. Saving the kid's skin, the peaceful student explains that in the honors class, your seat is determined by pure, simple strength. Pointing across the room, the guy details that every month, there's a real combat match to decide who sits in the front, and the worst have to attend class standing. Surprised by the harsh system, the hero instantly understands why the atmosphere in that room is always so heavy. But the real kicker is that on the first day of the month, the chair challenge is open for anyone to try and steal someone else's spot. Getting straight to the point, our MC asks if sitting in the front comes with any perks or if it's just for show. Laughing at his innocence, the classmate confirms that the top 10 seats receive way more training resources from the school each month. To prove his point, the cowardly giant slaps his hand on his chair, showing that the number 10 seat is the perfect target. With his eyes gleaming with ambition, the kid cracks his knuckles and declares that chair will be his, no matter the cost. Back on the mat, the instructor calls everyone over and gives the green light to start the ranking brawls. Immediately, the entire class forms a circle in the center of the arena, waiting to see who the first maniac to issue a challenge will be. With his arms crossed, the master goes over the rule and says each student gets 3 chances to steal a chair based on strength. Without waiting another second, our warrior cuts through the line, points his sword at the brute, and demands the number 10 seat. In absolute shock, the teacher nearly drops his clipboard, surprised by the rookie's audacity to aim for the top 10 right off the bat. Whispering in the corner, the students think Chengdu is completely nuts for trying his luck against the class's OP giant. Worried about the beatdown, the instructor analyzes the kid's strength and concludes it's not enough to go head to head with the brute. Drawing his blade with style, the MC ignores the comments and focuses completely on the valuable resources of that 10th chair. Cold and calculating, he swears to himself that the risk of getting beaten is worth every penny and resource he'll gain if he wins. On the other side, the big guy drags a colossal hammer, laughing like a psychopath, thinking he'll smash the newbie in 2 seconds. Underestimating the kid's size, the bully warns he won't go easy just because he's the youngest in the class. Full of confidence, the monster declares that the hero hit the jackpot by facing the strongest guy right in the first round. To prevent a murder in the ring, the teacher tells the brute to put on his maximum protection armor before fighting. Completely frustrated, the instructor thinks the newbie was smart, but apparently, he's just another hothead seeking attention. But deciding to let the fight happen, the master figures a good hammer beatdown will teach the cocky kid some humility. As soon as the protection is adjusted, the ref raises his hand and bellows the official start of the combat for the 10th seat. With a maniacal look, the giant tells the kid to get ready to cry and beg for mercy before he's done. Without changing his expression, the MC draws energy to his sword and flashes a sarcastic smile, challenging the attack. Launching off the ground, the big guy raises his giant hammer and brings it down in a frontal strike to crush the rookie's skull. Thinking he's won, the brute yells that the hero is too slow to dodge a blow that big. Panicking in the audience, the students scream that the difference in strength level between them is too high for the kid to handle. Feeling the pressure of the wind, the teacher shudders as he realizes the newbie's strength has increased absurdly since yesterday. In a matter of milliseconds, the big guy smiles, thinking the blow connected and the victory is all his. With a bizarre boom, the hammer smashes the air, raising smoke while our MC was already far away, preparing a stealthy strike. Blinded by the dust, the bully looks down, confused, and gets a fatal shock seeing a shadow plummeting right on top of him. Using his blade as a catapult, the kid launches his body forward and summons a devastating blue aura focused at the tip of his sword. A direct hit to the stomach sends the giant brute flying like a rag doll to the other side of the gym. With a dull thud, the big guy's body slams onto the floor, leaving the background characters speechless, unable to believe what they just saw. Sheathing his weapon with style, our hero confirms out loud that he executed the final dragon rush perfectly. Jaw on the floor, the instructor stammers, asking how the heck the kid's martial technique reached first order perfection so fast. Completely calm, the kid replies that he just did a little training last night and broke his limit by pure luck. Breaking into a cold sweat at the revelation, the teacher shakes the kid, asking again to be sure of that absurd craziness. Wasting no time, the master raises the MC's arm and announces him as the grand champion, owner of the number 10 chair. Across the court, the gossips are losing their minds, celebrating the fact that the freshman KO'd the big monster in a single hit. Looking completely dumbfounded, the peaceful student admits he judged a book by its cover and calls the kid a pure late, blooming genius. Getting back on track, the teacher asks if the hero wants to use his second chance to challenge the top 3 chairs. Smart and calculating, the kid declines the fight, saying he'd rather save his energy to survive the city tournament. Right after, his new classmates pull out their phones, asking to add the new top dog of the class. With no pride at all, the brew who just got beat up appears, laughing and apologizing like a total suck-up. Watching the interaction, the teacher focuses on the kid and tells him to come straight to the principal's office after class. Not really understanding the summons, the student agrees and, after the bell, knocks on the top dog's door. Greeted by the principal, the mood shifts, and the kid notices his own instructor leaning against the wall with a worried look. Immediately, the combat master asks the big boss if there are still any spots left in the region's top martial arts colleges. Pointing to a chair, the suit tells everyone to sit and asks the reason for the sudden interest in special recruitment. Getting straight to the point, the teacher reveals that the colleges require technical perfection, and the kid reached 99% proficiency the night before. Tired of theory, the principal raises his hand, telling them to stop beating around the bush, and says he'll test the kid's skill right now. Pointing to the back of the room, the authority shows an advanced scanning machine made just for measuring pinpoint martial precision. Positioned in front of the equipment, our hero draws his blade in total silence, preparing the dragon strike stance. Closing his eyes, he focuses all his killing intent into the blade, feeling the energy flow before unleashing it all on the target. Drawing the sword in a lightning, fast motion, the kid brings the blade down with full force. With a bizarre boom, the dragon's strike hits the machine's crystal, creating an insane bluish shockwave. Behind the desk, the principal nearly falls out of his chair when he sees the equipment crack from top to bottom. Looking totally baffled, our MC apologizes and swears up and down he didn't even try to break the thing. Sweating bullets, the combat teacher defends the kid, saying he's a genius with an uncontrollable killer instinct. Taking a deep breath, the instructor admits he's never seen a kid with such a sharp instinct for battle in his life. Super impressed, the principal agrees the newbie is an absolute prodigy and promises to give him the resources of the number 1 chair as a bonus. Raising his hand, the hero tries to understand how this VIP special recruitment thing works. Patiently, the teacher explains that the 8 great schools require a minimum life force of level 6.5 for the normal entrance exam. But with special recruitment, you just need perfect technique, and the evaluators from the mountain come to the student themselves to conduct the test. Thoughtfully, the kid asks if he can still take the normal exam if he passes the special interview for these super colleges. Straight to the point, the kid says he'd rather go to Huangshan College and not one of those 2 giants. Confused, the instructor asks why, and the memory of the giant attack from 6 years ago hits him hard. Back then, the city's defense forces, along with the soldiers from Huangshan, fought to the last to hold back the monsters. Completely outnumbered, thousands of warriors gave their lives to save the population from a massacre. With a steady gaze, the kid says he just wants the power to keep his own family completely safe. Focused, the MC vows that if the city is attacked, he wants to have the strength and be close enough to get back quickly and protect everyone. Impressed by the answer, the teacher realizes not just any kid chooses a college out of loyalty to their city. Shaking his head, the master praises the absurd sense of responsibility in such a young guy to care for his family like that. On the computer, the principal confirms the request but warns that if he passes the special test, the contract will tie him to that school forever. To cheer the kid up, the instructor says if he does well in the 100 Cities tournament, the college will give him a 30-point discount on the entrance exam. Thanking him for the encouragement, the hero grabs his things and says he'll think carefully about this VIP route before making a final decision. Leaving through the school gates, he thinks that the tournament is next month, so he still has 30 days to level up. Focused on progress, the kid decides to lock himself in the private martial chamber the school arranged for him to train hard. On the way, he plans to use life force pills that only the extreme martial institution sells. In this world's history, 3 super factions dominate everything and protect humanity from the colossal beasts. Among them, the tech-focused Martial Hall is dedicated purely to improving the raw strength of the entire human race. Completing the trio, the Warrior Alliance enforces law and order to prevent chaos among the superhumans. At the door of the Tech Hall, the kid remembers its founder is the second strongest human in history. Arriving at the counter, he immediately flashes his credentials and asks for 3 boxes of Thunder Blood pills at once. Startled by the order, the attendant's eyes go wide, asking if he really wants the Thunder pills. Polite but firm, the girl informs him they aren't for open sale, and he needs to pass a resistance test first. Without beating around the bush, she explains that the pill's energy turns into lightning in the veins and can explode the meridians if the body can't handle it. To prove the danger, the woman asks him to place his hand on the shock machine's panel before closing the deal. Way too calm, our warrior places his palm on the sensor and tells her to turn on the power at full blast. With a click, the gadget fires the electric charge, while the attendant watches the numbers on the screen. Seeing the kid didn't even flinch, the girl is shocked by his absurd bodily resistance. Walking down the hallways, the kid grumbles that the shock felt like it came from a faulty machine because it was so weak. Now inside the school's private chamber, he goes over the rules and knows he can only take 3 pills a day. With the capsules in hand, the MC laughs, thinking the little bit of pain from the hall was nothing compared to his training. In one gulp, he swallows all 3 at once, swearing that the so-called multiplied pain will be a piece of cake. Almost instantly, his eyes widen and his veins pop, looking like his body is about to explode from the inside out. Screaming in pain, the kid is fried alive by thousands of blue lightning bolts tearing through every inch of his skin. Completely possessed by the thunder energy, he gives a maniacal smile, daring the pill to do its worst. After the hellish ordeal, the aura fades, and he falls to his knees, panting and sweating buckets. Immediately, the system flashes, announcing his life force has leveled up straight to 5.3 in a snap. Instead of celebrating, the hero does the math and cries that the expensive pills will only last 10 days, and he's running out of money. To get some cash, the kid decides he needs to crush everyone in the tournament and get into the top 2 to win the maximum prize. Lying on the cold floor, he grumbles that the pain from the pill has temporarily paralyzed his entire body. Without wasting a second, the genius enters the virtual crystal space, since his physical body is stuck on the floor. Back in the mental arena, he spends the night slicing up fire monsters and leveling up his spiritual power like a beast. Cut to the next day. The MC is rushing so he doesn't miss the first day of theory class in the honors section. Excited, the kid can't wait to burn through the VIP resources he won from the principal in the bet. At the front of the class, the teacher with glasses announces that today's lesson will be on the special technique of enveloping spiritual force. Curious about the topic, the kid remembers the master is a member of the Alliance and has a life force of level 15. Methodically, the woman explains that enveloping the spirit with physical force doubles the explosive power of any attack. Detailing it on the screen, she shows that normal force spreads through the body, but spiritual control focuses the energy on a single point of impact. Looking around, the boy notices the class is super relaxed and figures everyone has known this technique for a long time. With a serious face, the teacher warns that it's not worth wasting time on this before reaching level 10 life force. But to see who's boss, she announces she'll release her own spiritual power to test the entire class's resistance. Pulling out a flute, The woman says she'll play the melody of exhaustion to see who can handle the mental pressure. Looking at the back of the room, the master speaks directly to our MC, saying participation isn't mandatory if he's scared. Confused by the stare down, the kid realizes she aimed that advice exclusively at him. Figuring the old lady thinks his mind is level 1, the boy stands up and says he'll participate. With a faint smile, the teacher thinks about going easy on him and taking care of him if he passes out right away. Putting the instrument to her lips, she tells everyone to resist with their own willpower, as the music crushes both body and mind. As soon as the sound hits the room, the students groan in pain, trying to bear the strain by force. Focusing her spiritual energy into the musical notes, the woman creates purple waves that dominate the air. Totally fine, our MC stands there, listening to the sound casually while the pressure crushes his classmates. Suddenly, a bizarre illusion of a terrifying shadow begins to form in the kid's vision. In the blink of an eye, the shadow attacks, tearing through the air, and he dodges on pure instinct, slicing the threat. Crossing blades with the mental phantom, the boy realizes the teacher is mixing physical illusions into the sound. In total shock, the genius discovers that the attack is a spiritual hypnosis mixed with a physical blow. On the teacher's side, her eyes widen when she sees the newbie standing there like a statue. Surprised by his resistance, the woman doesn't understand how the kid is as relaxed as someone eating a sandwich. Stunned by his strength, the teacher realizes the kid has a completely shielded mind. Intrigued by the mystery, she decides to crank up the spiritual pressure another level to see his limit. Behind the boy, the rest of the elite class is already collapsing to the floor, drooling from exhaustion. Taking the flute from her mouth, the master asks the newbie how he's handling the pressure. Without showing any pain, our MC just blinks, confused, asking what's going on. Outside, the combat teacher spies on the class, his jaw dropping at the students' resistance. Laughing nervously, the big guy who got beat up before admits the losing to this monster was no shame at all. Focused on the scene, the master concludes that the boy has the extremely rare dual talent of body and spirit. On the floor, the spoiled rich kid faints, drooling while the hero remains standing firm and strong. Wanting to test the absolute limit, the teacher cranks the pressure straight to level 6 all at once. Finally feeling the weight hit him, the kid gives a slight tremble, closing his eyes. With the purple aura crushing the room, the mental gravity doubles on everyone. In a snap, the teacher ends the technique, and the sinister force vanishes in the blink of an eye. Breaking the silence, the boy lets out a breath, complaining that things suddenly got heavy. Faking exhaustion, he puts a hand on his knee, just so he doesn't look like an unbeatable robot in front of the class. Utterly shocked, the woman states that having spiritual energy greater than one's life force is a living miracle. In the hallways, the instructor runs off to spread the gossip about the newbie's dual talent. Now in the principal's office, the teacher confirms the theory, saying the kid is a perfect weapon. Immediately, the principal concludes the hero has the pure potential to become a sky-walking warrior. Slapping the table, the suit declares that sending this boy to a normal school would be a crime against humanity. On the spot, the instructor gets his orders and calls the kid straight to the boss's office. Not understanding the rush, our warrior knocks on the door, expecting another lecture. Straight to the point, the principal asks if the boy knows about the legendary Black Dragon College. Patiently, the teacher explains that the world's 3 greatest elites only accept mutants with the potential to fly. In a quick flashback, the principal explains that warriors of this level transcend normal human status. To get into a place like that, a student needs level 9 strength and absurd technique, which cost a fortune in supplements. Silently, the MC calculates that he doesn't have a single penny to fund this crazy dream. But with fire in his eyes, he raises his head and swears he'll try for a spot at Black Dragon, no matter the cost. Satisfied with his grit, the principal says that special recruitment is the key to getting in for free. Putting fear aside, the kid focuses on next month's tournament to secure his future. Cut straight to the simple apartment building where our hero's family lives in peace. Arriving with his backpack on, he's greeted by his sister, who tells him dinner is on the table. Eating off to the side, the little sis notices her brother is much stronger and has a mysterious aura. Focused on his plate, the boy doesn't even notice the admiring glances from his own family. Dropping the bombshell, he tells his mom and dad that he'll be living at school for the next 30 days to train hard. Worried, his mom asks if he can handle the strain without passing out from exhaustion again. Reassuring his mom, the kid swears the school gave him VIP resources and a luxury room just for him. In his head, the private martial arts chamber is the perfect paradise to level up without anyone snooping. Supporting the idea, his dad tells him to go all out and not to worry about things at home. Full of pride, his pops gives him that moral boost to crush it in the tournament. Finishing his food quickly, the student gets up and sets off on his mission. Saying goodbye to his family, He gets the last warnings from his mom to take care of himself. Back in the private chamber, the MC faces the mountains of supplements and potions paid for by the school. Sliding his finger across the panel, he locks the metal door, shielding the room from the rest of the world. Taking a deep breath, our hero swears that from now on, it's nothing but blood, sweat, and beatdowns. Inside the spacious room, the lights turn on, revealing the high-tech environment. Talking to the artificial intelligence, the boy tells it to increase the gravity by 5 times. Immediately, a crushing blue force descends on him, weighing as much as 15 elephants on his back. Without mercy, the machine activates a combat robot and begins the 4th round of insane training. Coming in hot, the machine throws a colossal punch, and the MC dodges, knowing a frontal block would break his bones. Using his agility, he slides under the mechanical arm and slices the robot on its side. Reading his movements, the robotic system recalculates its path and tries to anticipate the kid's next dodge. Cornered by 2 simultaneous attacks, the hero sees all his escape routes blocked. With a sly grin, he decides to use the insane gravity to his advantage. Stomping hard right on the robot's metal leg, he uses the machine as a trampoline. In a brutal impulse, the warrior launches himself through the air, aiming his blade at the machine's blind spot. Falling to its knees, the training dummy takes critical damage, and the system reports a failure. Out of nowhere, the robot's eyes glow red and it activates its OP last resort mode. Stretching its arm like rubber, the contraption attacks from a distance, catching the boy by surprise. Screaming desperately, the kid tells the room to turn off the gravity before he becomes meat paste. Lying on the smooth floor, the warrior grumbles that his body has reached its absolute limit of exhaustion. To not waste time, he enters the immortal meditation state to focus on his mind. Pulling the blue aura into his chest, the boy absorbs the spiritual energy from the empty space. Soon after, the system announces his mental power has gained a good amount of experience points. Feeling his legs go numb, he complains about the bizarre muscle pain from the heavy training. With his body and mind fried, the only option now is to crash and sleep. Throwing his body on the floor any which way, the hero passes out instantly. In the blink of an eye, his consciousness travels to the depths of the crystal subconscious. Right in the middle of the glaciers, the kid awakens with his sword in hand, ready for war. Cracking his neck, he walks across the ice, hunting for the knight's horde. Face to face with the green fire giants, he remembers the beating he took for not finding their weak spot. Focused on revenge, the boy summons the light aura, locking his eyes on the monster's markings. In a mental flash, he deduces that those spots aren't curses but the creature's bizarre healing core. Aiming straight for the big guy's green chest, the MC swears that destroying that point is certain doom for the beast. Thanks to the gravity training, the kid has become so fast in the dream world that dodging punches has become child's play. Floating in the mental darkness, our warrior finds the perfect opening in the monster's energy field. In a fierce impulse, he leaps forward, plunging his blade with all his might into the giant's healing core. Immediately, the monster's body cracks and explodes in a toxic, dark purple smoke. For the first time, the kid defeats the beast without taking a single scratch, and an aura of power dominates the place. Sweating buckets, the hero smiles, excited about the insane results of his training under gravity's pressure. Dawn finally breaks in the city, and the big day has arrived for the famous 100 Cities tournament to separate the weak from the strong. Walking through the giant lobby of the luxury hotel, the freshmen are drooling over the place's wealth. Right at the reception, our MC is blocked by a stressed out guy who won't let him sign the tournament roster. From a distance, the kid notices the guy's bizarre tied-up hair, who is purposefully blocking his path. Yelling in the receptionist's ear, the big, haired character demands to know why his team was thrown to the back of the line. With a sinister smile on his face, the loudmouth tries to act tough, scaring everyone around. Getting closer, the MC notices the pure killing intent coming from that psycho. Observing the tense situation, he notes that the guy's strength isn't much, but the malice in his eyes is off the charts. To calm the commotion, a girl with lilac hair appears, telling the long-haired guy to stop making a scene. In the hallways, the hotel crowd is in shock because the famous sea princess showed up out of nowhere and is even more beautiful. Confused by the uproar, our hero asks who the heck this sea princess is. Quickly, his classmates whisper that she's the city's top dog, the director's daughter, rich and way too OP for them. Staring at the girl's face, the kid gets a sense of déjà vu and remembers a fight in the virtual system. He instantly recognizes that this preppy girl is the same lilac-haired little rat who crushed him in the simulation. Smiling to himself, he finds it hilarious that the system didn't generate the girl's face but copied it from the real world. Cut straight to the door of Hotel Room 107, where the organizers will announce the tournament rules. At a table full of maps, the teachers go over the details of the war that's about to break out tomorrow morning. Seriously, the director announces that the competition format has changed, and will now be a battle for badges in the dense forest. Sitting on the couch, the MC asks the teacher to explain the main issue with this annoying new rule. Basically, the master says the first round is in the forest arena and lasts 13 hours for each team to find 2 magic seals. On the hologram, the school shows that the marks are divided into 2 names and glow blue in the dense forest. To pass to the second stage, at least half the team needs to reach the magic portal carrying the prize. Worried, a student asks for the total number of badges to try and calculate their chance of survival. Grimly, the teacher says there are very few, and half the teams will be eliminated right away for not having a seal by the end of the night. Laughing in relief, a cocky rookie says at least he won't have to fight the MC monster in the first phase. Holding up the gold trophy, the instructor reminds them that anyone who makes it to the top 10 has it made for the college exams. Calmly, the MC focuses on the survival tips so he doesn't collapse from exhaustion in the middle of the woods. Raising his hand, the master gives the most important and heavy warning of the entire tournament explanation. With his voice cracking, he warns that anyone who takes another human life during the test will be sent to the gallows, no exceptions. To prevent cheating, the students will wear neutralizing suits, and the teachers will monitor everything from the shadows. Joking but serious, the master swears he'll smack anyone who fails the test and gets the school disqualified. Fired up, the entire team shouts that they'll crush the competition in the forest, no matter the cost. Bright and early, the teams from 100 cities gather at the gate of the closed domain, where the war will take place. Startled, the MC looks at the woods and notices the sky and the light of the place look like a painting. They're so weird. On the stage set up in front, the tournament's head honcho calls for everyone to be responsible before the brawl begins. Pointing to the giant portal, he confirms that the test location is an isolated dimensional rift where no normal creatures exist. Curious, the kid reflects that fighting in a spiritual space full of bizarre beasts is way more intense than a training field. So there are no complaints. The organizer swears that the space's security is guaranteed by the highest council of warriors. But right after, the old man gets real, saying that accidental deaths do happen, and everyone needs to keep their eyes open in there. When it's time to form squads, the commission announces that the system will pair the strong together to balance the game of death. Staring at the crowd, the MC notices the guy with the ponytail looking down on everyone with a sour face. Quick as a flash, the retinal scanner checks the participants' identities, granting access to the portal. With the lights glowing, the dimensional rift to the Blood Wolf domain opens up, massive, in front of the crowd. In the center of the rift, a colossal magic circle pulses with blue magic on the cracked ground, preparing for the journey. Calmly, the instructor whispers that if the rift suddenly closes, the circle will pull everyone back to safety. Excited, the master tells everyone to enter the circle and warns that the teams will be scattered to focus on isolated fights. Pulling energy to its base, the teleportation circles begin to spin like crazy, activating the jump system. With a sonic boom, the energy rips through the air, teleporting the students and leaving the gate empty in a second. Inside the dark forest, our hero opens his eyes, his hand already on the hilt of his sword, alert for any creatures. Walking slowly, he steps on dry branches and feels the place's energy is as heavy as his virtual field. Looking at his watch, his teammates find the map and ask their leader where to go first. Checking the route, the kid points to a stone pillar right near the group, hoping their luck holds out. Trusting their captain, the whole team swears loyalty and dashes toward the pillar to snag the first badge of the game. Soon enough, they find the old concrete structure hidden among the trees and tall grass. Immediately, the MC's friend reaches out to press the square blue button on the side of the monument. Celebrating too early, the team thinks getting the seal so quickly is pure champion's luck. Suddenly, the kid's eye glints as he notices the wind changing, and he screams a desperate warning to his teammates. Yelling loudly, the MC tells everyone to fall back and draw their weapons, because a dirty attack is already flying through the air. Tearing through the branches, a colossal hunting arrow lands right in front of the team, nearly sticking in the ground. With a cold smile, the hero grips his sword, knowing the cocky adversaries got there much faster than him. With a heavy step, the rival school's leader lands on the ground, pointing his pure metal spear at the MC's chest. Full of arrogance, the punk tells Liang's team to hand over the badges if they don't want to get taken out early in the forest. On the other side of the woods, the ponytail guy schemes a plan to take out everyone near the high reward areas. Sarcastically, the MC isn't scared at all by the cheap threat and raises a finger, telling the enemy to back off. In the dense fog, something moves with a sinister buzz, coming from the darkest part of the dimensional rift. In the blink of an eye, the group feels a crushing pressure and looks back, praying it's not a strong beast. Emerging from the shadows, a pair of enormous red eyes stares down the rival team, making the idiots break into a cold sweat. Immediately, the boy recognizes the giant wolf as one of the killer beasts from his spiritual crystal system. Annoyed, the MC wonders why the creatures from his mind are appearing physically in this real world. With a sadistic little smile, the hero leaves the useless fight behind and makes it clear the beast is purely the enemy's problem. With the beast approaching, the MC tells his own team to fall back, saying he'll handle the big wolf alone. Furious at the mockery, the rival leader ignores the monster and launches a deadly attack from above against the kid. Tearing through the wind, the spear follows up with a brutal blow that smashes the stone ground with a deafening boom. Retreating in shock, the preppy kid is stunned to see the boy block the direct attack using only a light sword. Trembling with rage, the bully doesn't understand how the newbie has so much raw strength since the system equalized everyone's level to 5. Seeing the advantage, the rival's partner thinks victory is in the bag because their leader has already mastered perfect first order technique. In the blink of an eye, our MC's eyes glow intensely, revealing his true killing intent. Without messing around, the boy activates his spiritual envelopment, raising his sword's aura to level 9 instantly. Before the enemy can blink, the hero launches forward like a missile, delivering a vertical slash from the bottom up, tearing through his defense. Like a whirlwind, the light sword technique shatters the ground, throwing the two rival goons back in shock. With the force of the impact, the cocky leader is sent flying and slams hard into the trunk of a thick tree. Planting his boot on the ground, the kid stops his own momentum, maintaining a perfect stance after the quick massacre. Lying on the ground, the cowards groan in pain, unable to believe the newbie's little sword weighed more than a steel anvil. Sweating bullets, the enemy team leader faces his end, terrified of this bizarre prodigy. Finishing the show, the MC points his blade at the rival's neck, making it clear who's in charge in this forest. Straight up, the warrior says he broke the strongest one first to show who calls the shots here. With a click, the panel on the enemy leader's smart suit beeps, signaling his total defeat. Emerging from the shadows, the referee teacher confirms the kid's blow reached a brutal level 7 strength, easy. Desperate, the fallen preppy kid's partner begs the ref to let him fight, since he's still in one piece. Without pity, the master says if the sword were real, his buddy would be sliced in half and eliminates the team on the spot. Closing the coffin, the ref looks at the kid and declares it wouldn't have mattered if he blocked, because the boy would have followed up with an infinite combo if he wanted to. Impressed, the evaluator mentally deduces that this newbie has surpassed the rich kid's strength and will be a real threat in the tournament. Turning their backs, the losing team promises revenge in the next phase, while the MC just ignores their whining. In a last gasp of pride, the rival asks for the kid's name, saying he rarely respects someone from such a low rank. Laughing mockingly, our hero doesn't even introduce himself and says his name will be in first place on the scoreboard in 2 days. Cut to the event's main hall, where the teachers watch the brawls on giant monitors in total comfort. With a booming crow-like laugh, the city's mayor praises the students' performance, already guaranteeing a spot for the local team. Impressed, the principal comments that this year is packed with geniuses with first-order strength, including the rookie from the countryside. Noticing the screen, the monitors are confused, asking why the MC's team grabbed the badge and is running straight for the exit. On the map, their location shows the team crossing the wolf forest, running like there's no tomorrow. Surprised by the tactic, a teammate asks if the hero is really planning to bail this early. Super calm, the kid lays it on the line, saying that with his current strength, getting the other badges is no big deal. With fire in his eyes, he says the focus isn't just to pass the stage, but to be the absolute champion of this thing. Giving a moral lesson, he says that for the rich, the prize is status, but for him, it's pure survival money. Pausing to explain, the kid reveals he took the escape route to force a direct encounter with the big city favorites. Doing the math, the MC concludes there's no way to face both monster teams on the same day later on. So, the best strategy is to take down one of the favorites right away in the first phase while they're scattered in the forest. Since the system avoids confrontations between the top dogs, the hero creates his own mental chess game to eliminate the competition early. As he walks, the screens show the enemy team relaxed, thinking their qualification is in the bag. With a sharp gaze, the kid focuses on the ambush, smelling blood in the air. Determined not to wear himself out fighting the dynamic duo later, he vows to break one of them right now. Recalling his hellish training, he invokes the piercing dragon technique, preparing the lethal strike. Suddenly, the MC freezes in place, feeling a bizarre change in the environment that cuts off his train of thought. Trembling with panic, one of his partners screams, collapsing to the ground, crushed by an invisible gravitational pressure. Emerging from the fog, the blood wolves appear, baring their fangs, ready to kill. Surrounded by the monsters, his teammate cries, saying the beast's level 7 life force is so terrifying he can't even move. With his teeth clenched, The kid calculates that his strength and speed are still a bit below the wolf's level. Opening its giant maw, the beast charges, tearing through the wind and aiming straight for the hero's neck. With quick reflexes, the kid dodges by a hair, but the sharp claws still graze his ear. Crossing swords with the beast, the MC summons a net of blue lightning to try and stop the pack's furious charge. Doing some desperate math, he realizes that if he doesn't take out the creatures in 2 minutes, the whole team will be dinner. Pulling every drop of spiritual energy, he demands his own sword get faster, no matter the cost. In a flash of light, the blade begins to hum, tearing through space and slicing the wolf's side in a suppressive attack. Holding back the pressure, he thinks he can handle it if he can maintain that fragile balance. But hope dies quickly when another teammate cries out in pain, his arm bleeding after taking a deep cut. Pinned against a rock, the injured friend begs for help, already accepting his end. Trembling with guilt, the wounded partner apologizes for being the team's dead weight at the worst possible time. Desperate, the MC yells for the team to run because the wolves just entered their focused berserk mode. Trying to help, the big guy hesitates but gets an earful from the captain, telling him to get out of there now. From the thick smoke, a terrifying red silhouette emerges, its eyes glowing with pure killing intent. Letting out a bizarre howl, the enraged wolf fires a beam of pure malice straight at the group. Like a blue meteor, the hero leaps in front and uses his technique's raw power to deflect the death ray. Looking back, he orders his partners to run, saying the hidden teacher will protect him in the worst-case scenario. Without looking back, the big guy grabs the injured one, and they both bolt from the forest, crying with rage for being so weak. Alone and confident, the warrior points his sword at the wolf, remembering that fury mode blinds the beast, stripping it of all intelligence. Drawing his blade with style, the kid scoffs that he's already diced up 30 of these wolves in the crystal space and loves this game. Emerging from the mist with his body bulging with veins, the alpha wolf rises in full berserker mode, ready for a massacre. In the blink of an eye, the beast charges, slashing its claws against the MC's sword, kicking up dust and red lightning. With the force of the impact, the blade nearly gives way, and the hero feels the weight of the monster's paw, crushing the bone in his arm. Jaw on the floor, he widens his eyes and calculates that the big wolf's life force magically jumped to level 7 all at once. On the security cameras in the hall, the school's principal analyzes the fight with a look of disappointment, thinking the newbie is done for. Sipping tea, the rich big shot comments that facing a pack in a frenzy is too much for any regular student's current level. Despite this, the mayor praises the fact that the kid is still on his feet, trading blows with a beast 2 levels above him. Curious, the principal mentions he pulled the boy's file and found it very strange that he disappeared for 2 years and came back a monster. Laughing at the concern, the mayor counters that martial talent can come from nowhere and doesn't need so much useless investigation. Breaking the desperate mood, the combat teacher defends the kid, saying he's not talking about raw strength but pure style. Confused, the suit looks over, asking the expert to translate that battle jargon. With his eyes shining with pride, the master points out that the kid's technique isn't perfect but has an absurd predictive instinct. Pointing to the screen, he swears the boy dodges attacks with his back turned and strikes like a veteran who survived hell. Utterly shocked, the principal realizes that a natural gift for killing isn't learned in a classroom. Sighing deeply, the big shot tries to understand how a boy from a humble family has such abnormal battle data. Cut back to the forest, where the fight is raging, and the wolf's purple aura dominates the entire area. Like a lightning bolt, the MC throws himself into the middle of the pack, slicing 3 smaller beasts in the blink of a blind eye. Focused solely on survival, he knows he can't waste a second, or the alpha wolf's gravitational force will crush him. Unleashing his full power, the hero fires the dragon's gale, shattering the rocks and clearing a path with raw force. With a dull thud, one of the wolves takes the blow to the chest and is sent flying like a fly. Spinning in the air, the warrior uses the tree trunks as platforms to keep up the frantic pace. Sweating profusely, he grumbles to himself that he needs to find the pack's weak spot before he runs out of gas. On the ground, the furry crew is already regrouping, ready for the perfect pounce as he falls. Out of nowhere, a wolf's shadow leaps from the alpha's back, trying for a cowardly bite. On pure reflex, the boy blocks high and throws the sliced beast straight onto the stone ground. Panting, he takes a few steps back, admitting that this non-stop exchange is draining all his vitality. With his teeth clenched, he declares he won't last much longer and needs a devastating finisher now. But as soon as he touches the ground, the entire horde charges at once in a combo of claws tearing through the wind. Dodging at the last second, the MC feels blood splatter on his arm, realizing his reaction speed has started to drop. Smelling blood, the giant wolf gives a devilish grin and begins a frantic hunt through the forest. Giving him no room to breathe, the kid returns the blows in a desperate sequence of slashes just to keep the monsters at bay. Locking eyes in the midst of the chaos, the beast and the hunter size each other up in a deadly millisecond stare down. In a dangerous slip, up the alpha wolf finds a crack in the boy's guard and throws its colossal claw to tear open his chest. Throwing his body back, the hero escapes by a thread, but the force of the blow sends him flying into the trees with extreme violence. Slamming his back hard, he realizes too late that he found the beast's blind spot, but his own body couldn't keep up. Trembling with rage, the warrior forces his grip on the sword, swearing that the blade must go beyond its physical limit if he wants to live. In his mind, the faces of his family flash by, reminding him of his promise to put good food on the table without fear of monsters. In an explosion of pure adrenaline, he pushes the wolf away, breaking physics and pain all at once. Through the camera, the principal's eyes go wide, and he breaks into a grin from ear to ear, realizing what just happened. With his body glowing blue, the MC realizes that this combat has become the definitive turning point of his life. Gritting his blood-stained teeth, he awakens a hidden energy deep in his soul, screaming that he won't go down here. In a dark flash, the boy merges with a black and blue aura, looking like a demon waking from a deep slumber. Shooting upwards, he descends like a meteor, piercing straight through the alpha wolf's main defense. His eyes widening, the kid feels the weight of his sword has completely changed, as if it's cutting through butter. Exhausted, he lands on the ground as the energy from that final blow sweeps through the entire forest in a giant shockwave. Surprised, the big wolf stands frozen, feeling the shock, and slowly collapses, the life already gone from its eyes. Hiding in the bushes, the cowardly partner cries, regretting having abandoned his captain to his fate. With a sigh, the weak kid mumbles that he can't go back and hates himself for being so useless when it mattered. But when he looks back at the battlefield, the coward is struck silent. Seeing his friend standing firm and strong, holding his blood-soaked sword, the hero notices his slashes are now magically flowing with the wind. Unable to believe his own feat, he confirms his technique has reached a ridiculous level of perfection out of nowhere. Totally focused, the boy understands that his killing instinct has molded his blade style to the perfect first-order level. On the system screen, a congratulatory message pops up, announcing his mastery has jumped to an incredible 99%. Walking calmly through the woods, the kid dismisses his aura and sheathes his weapon, now with the posture of someone who fears nothing. In the main hall, the big shots watch the replay, their jaws on the floor as the miracle unfolds live on screen. Yelling in fright, one of the monitors screams at the principal, asking if it's normal for a student to break their limit in the middle of a bloody brawl. Thoughtfully, the other teacher tries to find some logic, saying that Wolf Den was meant to wipe out an entire team of veterans in the first round. Sweating bullets, the head evaluator notes that the boy's technique and strength didn't seem to be just level 5. No way. Giving the final verdict, the principal swears the kid has spiritual power close to level 10, which makes him a pure genius. Completely dumbfounded, the old man says that if the technique is truly perfect, his spot in the Supreme Honors class is more than guaranteed. Laughing heartily, the mayor claps the teacher on the shoulder, celebrating that his city has produced a little monster capable of clearing the forest. Cut straight to the middle of the woods, where a rival team appears out of nowhere, looking like B-movie villains. The group's preppy leader laughs at his own luck, thinking he stumbled upon a part of the woods full of forgotten badges. With a hand on his hip, he explains that he tricked the MC's team and deliberately sent them into the wolf's nest. Celebrating his cowardly plan, he assumes the judges stepped in, killed the wolves, and eliminated Chengdu's team. Holding up the glowing badge, he gives a sadistic smile, swearing that victory fell right into his lap without throwing a single punch. Overjoyed, the goons hug each other, thinking their dirty scheme has secured them a pass to the next phase. But as they walk deeper, the entire team freezes, smelling the unbearable stench of fresh blood on the ground. Looking down, the cowardly leader starts to sweat and tremble with panic at the bizarre scene before him. Feeling a chill down his spine, his partner points a trembling finger and stammers that the badges aren't alone on the ground. Hidden behind a rock, the magic seal glows, resting right on top of the open skull of a dead giant wolf. In a tense zoom, the camera shows the pool of dark blood and the sliced-up bodies of the entire pack, thrown around like trash. Jaws wide open, the useless team realizes the mountain of slaughtered beasts surrounding the blood-soaked clearing. Trying to be rational, the preppy kid stammers that the rescuer teachers must have done some serious damage to clear the area. Out of nowhere, the kid's eyes go wide, and the color drains from his face as he notices a detail that shatters his whole flimsy theory. Screaming in desperation, the guy tells his whole team to run because that badge is a pure trap. In shock, the goon can't believe the rookie from the countryside killed the entire pack alone, without the teacher's help. Tearing through the foliage, a blue blade appears, humming through the air, and pointing straight at the scared leader's neck. With a macabre smile, our hero emerges from the shadows, stating that he killed the wolves with his own 2 hands. Appearing right behind him, the MC's partners also show up, closing the circle around the cowardly team. Trying to maintain his composure, the preppy kid asks how the heck the boy figured out their trap didn't work. Laughing, the warrior explains that their idiotic plan failed for a very obvious and bloody reason. Pointing to the wolves, the boy says judges don't use cutting weapons in rescues, so the slices were obviously made by him. To top it off, he scoffs, remembering that their teacher only knows how to hit with some bizarre baiduns that couldn't cut paper. Racking his brain, the hero tries to remember what the rival's main weapon was, but his mind is a total blank. Snatching the badge from the defeated enemy's pocket, the boy hands the prize to his teammates. Tossing the magic seal in the air, the kid says he doesn't care about the reward and just wants to focus on brawling with his real rival. Understanding the play, his teammate realizes the captain's real goal was never to score points, but to crush this Musashi guy. Opening the holographic map, the boy grumbles that he walked in the opposite direction and accidentally ran into a pack of wolves. Analyzing the route, he curses the organizers, blaming the bad GPS for leading the team straight into the monster's den. Focused on his goal, the kid concludes that Musashi must be hanging around near the giant star mark on the map. Out of nowhere, he stops walking and turns his head, sensing a strange presence approaching from the right. Emerging from the shadows, an entire team appears on the path, telling Liang's team to hand over the badges if they want to live. Surprised by the audacity, our MC's eyes widen as he asks if those punks are really trying to rob him. With a freezing glare, the warrior already considers slicing them all up just for the nerve of delaying his journey. Laughing mockingly, the rookie group's leader sarcastically thanks the MC for showing them the right way to the wolves. In the blink of an eye, a deafening noise cuts through the forest, followed by a heavy impact on the ground. Screaming in pain, the braggart leader flies away in face, plants in the dirt before he can even finish his catchphrase. Totally outraged, the chubby old guy on the rival team points a finger, accusing the MC of playing dirty and having no martial honor. Confused, a teammate asks what the heck martial honor is in the middle of a survival deathmatch. With a little smile, the hero sheathes his sword and says the fat guy is just a crybaby trying to act righteous. Full of sarcasm, the kid tells the old man that on the battlefield, that's called a deception tactic, not cowardice. On the digital panel of the fat guy's armor, the screen flashes, revealing his low martial arts ranking. Watching from a distance, the team notices the One-E crew managed to steal the martial seal by pure luck. Laughing at the irony, his partner comments that the fat guy's trap ended up giving them 2 badges for free. Turning his focus back to the map, the MC analyzes the route, feeling the weight of exhaustion hitting his muscles hard. Worried, his friend shakes the captain's shoulder, asking if he's really going to hunt Musashi in that sorry state. Sighing deeply, the warrior admits he used almost all his life force dicing up the wolves and needs a moment to breathe. With a stern face, he confesses he only checked Musashi's position to avoid the monster, not to pick a fight for no reason. Limping through the dark forest, the team follows their leader, trying not to attract any other creatures or rival teams. Pointing to the holographic screen, the hero tells everyone to focus on finding the moon portal to get out of there as fast as possible. Drawing the route in the air, he traces a long path that bypasses the major conflict zones. Not understanding the logic, the big guy on the team complains that the route is a huge detour and will delay their arrival. Cold and calculating, the MC explains that he found the rule too easy and is absolutely certain the judges lied about the safety of the points. Jaw on the floor, his teammate tries to piece it together and asks if the organizers are actively trying to get people taken out. Nodding, the kid recalls the head honcho's mysterious speech about the dangers of the route, suggesting an obvious trap. Summing it up, he says the problem isn't the destination but the path to it, which is probably crawling with beasts. Focused on the map, he points out that the shorter routes are definitely choke points designed to force fights between teams. Smiling at the tournament's cruelty, he praises the judges' intelligence for creating a death funnel disguised as a race. Seriously, the boy tells the team to double their guard because any bush could be hiding a surprise attack until the finish line. Swallowing hard, his partner understands the gravity of the situation and draws his weapon, watching every shadow in the trees. With a sudden movement, the bushes rustle, and a fast silhouette crosses the path, cutting through the moonlight. Planting a heavy boot on the ground, it suddenly breaks, marking the earth with force. Sliding on the damp ground, the mysterious figure stabilizes and prepares for a clash. Sweating, the MC curses under his breath, realizing the long route wasn't enough to avoid a big shot. Emerging from the shadows, a blond guy dragging a giant coffin on his back blocks the trail, looking bored. Whimpering in despair, his partner realizes they've just run into the legend from the High City team. Noticing the blonde guy's aura, the boy feels the spiritual weight of a master at the peak of first-order martial arts. With his legs shaking, his teammate warns that the big guy exudes a sword intent that cuts the air just by breathing. With a brutal thud, the blonde guy drops the wooden coffin on the ground, creating a crater in the middle of the trail. Unlocking the lid, a beam of light reveals several long swords stored inside the walking armory. Drawing his own blade, the MC gets into a fighting stance, expecting the worst, while his partners are already praying for their lives. Suddenly, the blonde guy raises his hand and tells the hero to relax, saying he's not in the mood to take anyone out today. With a calm smile, the big shot points to the blood on the kid's clothes and says that beating up an exhausted guy would be too cowardly. Behind the blonde guy, the girl with lilac hair appears out of nowhere, complimenting the newbie for surviving until the end of the day. Super confident, she swears that the High Team's victory is absolute destiny and doesn't need a dirty massacre to happen. Hiding in the bushes, the MC's teammate drools in admiration, thinking the little couple is the most heroic thing in the world. Looking bored, our warrior rolls his eyes and grumbles to himself that this gooder act is just for show. Remembering the virtual beatdown, he mutters that the cute girl posing as a saint is the same little devil who crushed him in the pig simulation. Whispering in the girl's ear, the blonde guy breaks character and says the best tactic would have been to stomp on the rival's neck right now. With a nervous little laugh, she reminds her partner that the cameras are on for the whole world to see, and they need to keep up their good guy act. Cut to nightfall in the city, with the facade of the luxury hotel illuminating the empty street after the tournament. Sprawled out on the soft bed, the hero throws his arms back, relieved to have finished his daily energy refinement. Opening the system panel, he reads that 150 students survived the first day's massacre in the forest. Thoughtfully, he crosses his fingers, calculating he needs to defeat about 4 more big shots to secure his spot in the next stage. Focused on progress, the warrior notes his spiritual energy is at level 9, and he just needs one more push to become the undisputed #1 in the tournament.